Hey guys, and welcome to LBB 91 Coaching. We're talking to you guys about why your dismissive avoidant partner will act like they don't need anybody, including you. Okay, they are funny people. I'm one of them, by the way. Anyway, but they are gonna act like they don't need you, and the reason why they're gonna do that is because they believe that depending on somebody is weakness. I don't know if you've ever heard somebody say, I've got it. I don't need help. Let me figure it out. I'll handle it. I don't need your help. When you hear some of these key phrases, this is usually somebody who's got an avoidant tendency. And avoidancy tendency is literally something that John Bowlby coined from his, observations of watching young children and how they interact with their caregivers. It's basically what we call emotional attachment. And then dismissive avoidant people grew up in households where there's emotional neglect. So when they grow up in those kind of houses, they develop what we call hyper independence. They're going to do it all by themselves. So depending on somebody is actually weakness for them. So we're going to break it down a bit more as to why your dismissive avoidant partner shows up like this and how this actually impacts the relationship and how this actually can destroy your relationship as well because of that solo individual mindset that they tend to have. Stick around. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe. Click on that wonderful bell button for notifications of the uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, you already know what it is. Make sure you guys are hyping this video up as well. Okay, hype me up. All right, so that we can send this video around the globe. Okay, let's get into this. I'm gonna obviously get my trusted sidekick with me, and I'm on the wrong slide, but let's get onto here. Okay, I love this description. It says, children categorized by avoidant attachment generally avoid their parents or caregivers, not demonstrating a preference for one or the other. This is an attachment style that may be the result of neglectful or abusive caregiving. When the children are punished for relying on their caregivers, they often come to avoid seeking assistance in the future. Avoidant children who grow up to be avoidant adults are not looking to depend on other people because what they recognize is if I depend on you, not only am I weak, but it means also that I'm not worthy. Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about how this shows up in the relationship. Self-sufficiency, number one, is one of the biggest things that a dismissive avoidant will cling to. They believe that they don't need anybody to lead them and they don't need anybody to tell them what to do. In fact, the only way you can tell them what to do and advise them is when they fully trust you. And I know that sounds very obvious, but you'll recognize that actually when I say trust you, it means they have to have opened themselves up, lowered their guard, and they have a connection with you in such a way that they respect what you are saying, and then they can take your thing on board without it becoming offensive to them. What does that mean? It means there's a level of wisdom that you may carry that they will respect. If they don't respect their wisdom and they think they've got more information than you know who you are, you do struggle to take that person's word on board. Okay. All right. So that's because of that self-sufficiency. All right. And so how in the relationship, it shows up as I will do it myself. It can lead to take over spirit as well. Okay. Number two, the reason the number two is also that dismissive avoidant people will end up moving much faster than their partner. So if problems come up in the relationship, what they will do is try to solve the issue as quickly as possible. They don't care how it gets done, they want to get it done. Now that sounds great and it sounds amazing because it actually is. But the other side of that is that if your partner can't catch up, you don't look at them as an equal. You look at them as somebody who's actually quote unquote beneath you. You almost have a level of pride and arrogance about yourself because you're like, they can't solve the issue and I can. And then it just can become this prideful thing where it's like, if I'm not around, if I'm not involved, then the thing won't be solved, which then becomes a trap in itself because the dismissive avoidant person doesn't want to be relied upon or depended upon. Why? Because they don't like feeling trapped. They don't like feeling like if they have to stay here and be consistent and stay in this place, then they can't move and change their mind. And that comes back to boundaries, but that's another conversation for another day. Okay. So for them, dismissive avoidant people, they struggle not to take over when the person also hesitates. So if you struggle or you take a little bit too much time for them and you don't immediately step forward, they look at it not as fear but as frustration. Why haven't you got it? Why don't you understand it? Why aren't you quick to get this thing? And their level of patience isn't so high. And so rather than have a fight with you or argue with you because they're conflict avoidant as well, they just take over. They'll just take over. All right. So their whole demeanor and energy was tell you that you're too slow or you're not good enough and you need to be quicker and you're wasting time. And that's one of the big things. You're wasting time. That's one of the big things for them. And the reason being, again, because emotional solutions weren't offered to them as a young individual. Their emotional needs were neglected. That's why they are dismissive, not only of their emotions, but other people's. What's crying got to do with solutions? What's sadness got to do with solutions? What's emotions got to do with solutions? If those things don't pay the bills and they don't solve issues, they only create more. And that's a lot of times how the dismissive avoidant shows up, which actually is very detrimental to creating an emotional bond in the relationship. Because there are actual situations that do not require solutions that are not based in emotions. For instance, your partner may feel sad and they just want to talk, and you just need to listen. But you're wondering, how do we solve the issue you just told me? You're sad because something happened at work. Well, here's the solution. And not recognizing that by doing that, they actually disconnect the relationship because they're dismissive of their partner's emotional needs. And it's because for themselves, they never had those needs met. So, how does it affect the relationship overall? Well, one of the ways is that your independence becomes a form of intimidation. You don't allow people in and you don't allow people to help you. You don't allow people to serve you. And what that does is that it pushes people and keeps them at arm's length. I don't need you. I've got this. I'm wise enough as it is. Don't make me feel stupid. I know what to do. Right. And that very often then creates a chasm between yourself and the partner. And in that space, also, what it does is that the person then gets scared because they actually can't connect with you and they're afraid to say anything or try to even offer help because of your reaction, right? Whether that it's over the top or whether you just avoid them or you become what we call stonewalling or you personally just kind of, avoid and deflect and steer away from certain conversations. Number two is that you learn that the other person learns that there is no real space for contribution because their ideas are often dismissed if it doesn't align with what you believe a solution should be, right? If their solution is, hey, can you just listen to me for 5 minutes and that would help me feel better? You're like, what's 5 minutes of listening going to do? Does it solve the issue? You feel uncomfortable. And because you feel uncomfortable, you take over, right? That's what happens when your partner says, as an example, or your family member might say to you, hey, I have an emotional need, I just want to be heard. And you'll say, well, I know you want to be heard, but you're taking my time right now. We're on the fourth minute and we ain't got no solutions. You're still in the same place. What's going on? You don't realize you've been dismissive and you're trying to solve an issue that doesn't require your actual intelligence in that particular way. Emotional intelligence is needed. And then it just looks like you're criticizing. Number three, that person will end up stopping from trying to help, being involved, or contributing ideas. Why? Because simply being that you have reinforced the belief that they're not necessary. You've told them they're not needed. So why would they stick around? You've told them that they shouldn't help you. You're carrying shopping bags and you tell them, I've got it, you know? And all the while, you probably don't got it. You're probably tired, you're probably exhausted, you're probably frustrated, but you don't want anybody to see that you're weak. And so, because of that invulnerability, there is no room to now be able to connect with your partner in that fashion. Vulnerability is quintessential for having really healthy relationships. I got something on my chin, I didn't realize. Okay, here we go. And if you don't know how to do that, what will happen is you will push your partner away. Okay. Now this happens for the young for people because in their youth and in their childhood, their emotional needs weren't met. Okay. They grew up having to rely on themselves, solve every issue. And if they didn't solve the issue, it was life or death. If they didn't solve how they're going to eat, pay their bills, go to work, if they didn't solve those issues, then actually what would happen is life would stop for them. So it really is life and death for them. It's hard for them to change their mindset on that. Because for them, life must be controlled. They can't trust people easily because trusting somebody means they can be disappointed. And I'm not gonna lie, to disappoint me like I got disappointed when I was younger. Okay. Vulnerability feels unsafe because it means exposing myself, but it also means, again, once more, it can lead to disappointment. Right. And I won't open myself to that because why should I? I've been there already, done that. I've learned my lesson, it seems, quote unquote. So, what do those dismissive, avoidant people need to understand and learn? First and foremost, you must understand that actually there is strength in interdependence. You being the note that there's a statement that says, no one man is a island, okay? Meaning that you know, that having those other people around you strengthens you. The Bible also goes on to say one can put 1,000 to flight, but two can put 11,000 to flight. What does that mean? It means that when you have the joining of a team, it means you can do so much more in that space. If you want to go far, if you want to go far, fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. That is terms that says you must work with other people and trust them as well. Okay, you too also must allow for small incremental changes of allowing people to have some level of input into your relationship. You have to allow those people to shine and do it their way. They may not meet your standard as you want, but the grace that you're failing to show is the grace that you're also wanting. And you can't expect to have grace when you're not graceful. Okay? Allow yourself to receive rather than manage. Okay? And number three is to understand for you, all right, that you must encourage before correction. You must listen before solution before providing solutions. If you do this, your relationship can flourish. If you do this, your relationship can go further because you are beginning to exude an energy that says you are valuable to me. Changing this mindset that that everybody else is not needed is important for you and for others around you, right? Because it promotes an ideology that they're not valuable. And that's how you felt. And you're making other people feel that way. So it's time to change. Okay. The very things that you needed, you need to be giving it to people: grace, patience, a word of encouragement, right? The ability to be able to withstand some level of discomfort, to not avoid conflict, but to actually have conflict and share what's on your heart. The key thing here is that transparency and vulnerability and being very open about what you're going through actually makes people understand you more. It breeds empathy. So if you're here and you are somebody who is dismissive avoidant and you're struggling in this space where you are a takeover individual, you just want to do things by yourself. The moment that somebody fails, you're like, okay, I'm taking over. Then you need to tap in. You know, we're here to help you grow, to transform, and to heal. And so, if this is something that's touched you, reach down below in the description box and click on that click on that button, and join and sign up for our free discovery call to see if our coaching aligns with your goals and expectations. We'd love to hear from you very, very soon. Much love and much appreciation. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hype the video up as well. We'll see you again soon.